Hey everyone, this is AestheticGamer, and this is It Moves. This is an RPG Maker horror game made by the same person who made a few other RPG Maker horror games, such as Mr. Beer's, the one I remember by name off the top of my head. It's made by Snow Owl. I know the name of the person because I've messaged them on a few occasions. They've been in some competitions I've been into and all that. They also made some other games. Fucking, I can't remember their names right now, though. They're usually short horror games. I think one of them was a Skin Crawler or something like that. Fucking probably I'm going to remember by the time I upload this video. But regardless, this is It Moves. The newest game by them. They've been working on this one for a while, I know. There's new, old, and exit. I'll choose new immediately, and let's go straight into It Moves. Adjust brightness of the left bar on the TV, because, you know, I'm playing this on the television. Blends into the background, and center bar is hardly visible. Alright. Guess that works. Bedtime. Bedtime is supposed to be a happy event for a tired child. For me, it was terrifying. While some children might complain about being put to bed before they have finished watching a film or playing their favorite video game with a British spelling of favorite, when I was a child, nighttime was something to truly fear. Somewhere in the back of my mind, it still is. This is me. It's a wolf. Alright? Full of toys and stuff. Poster from a movie I got from my brother. That's a movie poster. For some reason I thought it was like a doll with like some weird thing behind on top of like a fireplace or something. Can't observe the desk. We can go outside, I guess? I cannot prove that what happened to me was objectively real. But I can swear that what I experienced was genuine horror. A fear which in my life, I'm glad to say, has never been equaled. I will relate it to you all now as best as I can, make of it what you will. But I'll be glad to just get it off my chest. Flowers. Mom put these here. Oh boy. Shoes. Not very interesting. A picture of a man standing around. I think it's Dad when he was younger. I can't remember exactly when it started, but my apprehension towards falling asleep seemed to correspond with my being moved into a room of my own. This is my mother. Nothing too interesting. Mom told me not to touch her stuff, especially this stuff. How do you like your new room? Soon you'll be sleeping alone for the first time. Since this is apparently a character narrating, I'm just going to leave the voices as are, as if he was narrating everything. Boxes full of stuff. Ventilation. I think Mom said this is. Just a bunch of clothes in here. A man with a mustache. And their bedroom. Oh boy. Dad here. This is my father. Don't go pulling out too much stuff now. It's bedtime soon, said the dad. Flowers. Mom put these here. This is my brother's room. He told me yesterday to keep out of the room that we both had shared until then. It's locked. Stupid bro. I was 8 years old at the time, and until then I had shared a room quite happily with my older brother. As is perfectly understandable for a boy 5 years my senior, my brother eventually wished for a room of his own, and as a result, I was given the room at the back of the house. As my brother was given a new bed, I was given the bunk beds which we used to share. While I was upset about sleeping on my own, I was excited at the thought of being able to sleep in the top bunk, which seemed far more adventurous to me. The room's lion looks a little bit different. Gonna wish me good night. Hello, mother, to wish me good night. All right, it's bedtime, said the mom. Already? I exclaimed. Yes, adults need their sleep, you see. You'll be sleeping alone for the first time, Mother said. You excited? Yes, Mom, I replied. Gotta follow the narrative procedures, apparently. To the top bunk we go. Probably because in sprite form we couldn't see ourselves in the bottom bunk. All right, I'm turning off the lights. Good night. Good night, I replied. And thus all was dark, and dark was all. Closing your eyes. Chapter 1, Cave. Save, always. Here I am, in my dream world. This way is blocked. Some strange mushrooms catch the attention, but apparently not too much so. Hello, strange being. You're up in a tree. I thought that if someone's staying there, but indeed that's in the tree above me. This seems a bit cartoony, almost like something out of the movie Labyrinth. A small water hole. The water is dirty. Probably not a good idea to drink it. Distinctively, maybe so. Can't go up there, though. There is a nice little house here, which indeed we can walk up to. Can we skip by the house? No siree, so inside we go. Led right out from a skeleton mouth. A pot and some ragged cloth. I wonder what's cooking.
You.
Through the witch's hut, or witch doctor, whatever the fuck this is in this case. That picture's moving.
Stalking is such a strong word. I prefer to think of it more as intense research on one individual. By the way, your missing sock is under your bed, with me. Just kidding.
A cold and welcoming breeze comes from the bottom of the stairs. Stay here. Despite the fact that being watched by this being probably isn't much better. Let's go. There is no saving. There is loading, though. Weird mushroom. Looks poisonous. Can't judge a book by its cover. Can't judge it till you try it. Something just went through the walls there. I couldn't tell you what, though. Weird mushrooms looks poisonous. Quite possibly. I guess we're gonna take the down path. See where it leads us. I can't see the bottom. Noises are getting louder. There's red liquid seeping out from the mushroom hat. Could be dangerous, could be perfectly okay. I could see it going either way, honestly. The cave is going in a little bit deeper, though. Where, oh where may the path tread? Let's find out. Something walks on ahead of us that seems to be more afraid of us than we are of it, though. This seems to be a puzzle, but... Ah, it's making those platforms move. How about the one over here? I kind of get it. But, oh, almost made it so close. I didn't realize there was the last piece there that hadn't been worked out yet. So close and yet so far. So that puts these two through. This controls which ones? It like reverses them or something. If I click it again. It affects the first and fourth ones? I think so. Let me just confirm one more thing. No. First and third ones, it looks like. Nope, it's first. It's 1, 2. It's 1, 3, and 4 is affected by this one. Let me put this up. That affects those two. What does this one affect? Because I can't see the fifth one. All but that one. The only problem is I don't know how to get this last one out of the way. You can't even see it. I can't see the bottom. You don't say. I can't see how deep this one is. So at the moment, all 4 of them are up. That switches the 2 of them around. This button will put them all down. This button will let everything but the last one up. Hopefully it's free now. Good, made the path, finally. I just couldn't see the last pillar. That was making me a little bit more difficult there. There's a red liquid seeping. Got it. I think we figured out the last time we looked at something like that. That's not a pathway, apparently.
Neither is this.
The path must continue this way. Something made noise behind us, but I'd rather not investigate too deeply. So maybe I should just continue forward. After all, whatever made that noise can come find us if it really wants to show itself. Seems like a pretty straight pathway.
The beast within.
Something like that. There is something that's definitely running away from us inside this cave location. So many places to go fucking right to, though. Walking slower and everything's shaking. I have a feeling these caves aren't going to last much longer, but hey, tread the path you tread to see where you end up. The world's going red and something's behind us. That's normal. We're pushed down to the abyss by the face beast. Mom, I had a bad dream. You couldn't run that sequence, trust me. Mom? Here we are back in our room, which makes sense because it was all just a dream. How about that teddy bear? Mr. Teddy. I didn't see that before. It's locked, stupid bro. We never gotta go in here. No need to go in here right now. We wanna go talk to Mom and Dad. Mom, I had a bad dream. She wakes up from her slumber. Sweetie, what's wrong? I had a bad dream. Ah, that's too bad, sweetie. I'll be up in a minute, and we can eat breakfast together. Alright, hurry up. Go change your clothes, and I'll be right there. Mom says unquestionably. How about Dad? Zzz. I'll be up in a minute, we can eat breakfast together. Not to touch your stuff, nothing too interesting. Alright, is this the kitchen over here? Let me go there right now. Is this the kitchen? I shouldn't go outside right now. Where is the kitchen? Do I go get ready? Ta-da, morning clothes. And so another day started. It was a day of little importance to our story. So we're gonna skip it. I won't bother you with the details. The one thing I remember is that even though I played with friends like I always did, I somehow still felt lonely. I didn't enter my new room until after later that night. It was time to go to sleep again. Definitely does seem like night, and there's the whole arrow telling us to go to bed. Despite the fact we could have probably figured that out. Off to bed we go. The fastest clothes change I think anyone has ever seen.
Close your eyes.
Chapter 2. Labyrinth. Let's see where this goes. Save, always. Right there. Can't go any further in these locations, but it does seem like there's something there. Very Silent Hill Otherworldish kind of right now looking. It's kind of like a rusted look. It's not, doesn't exactly look like it, it's just this sort of industrial, rusty look to it. There's obviously a puzzle here. Smile faces, frowny faces. What's over here? So that one's right first. So you figure out the order to press these in. It's pretty simple because there's only a few options. Thought that would be wrong. So now I know the order. It's this. 1, 2, 3, and then finally 4. It has released every pathway, which there are several of actually. So I don't know which way to go. I think it's a labyrinth, so it looks like a fan. I'll take the up path first. Instructions on how to use a fire extinguisher. Might be useful information in some certain instances, but yeah. There's another locked door. Where else? Oh, where else might we be heading towards? Ventilation, maybe. The air is still stuffy, though. That has a lot of dead ends. Not nearly as paths as you may think, because everything's blocked off. Nothing of interest, I think. Well, that just happened. I think I found the right way, but I do want to explore more. Because I can. A poster for some concept. It looks old. Those things are turning my screen redder. So maybe I'm supposed to find them all. Not to mention that every time I find one, the music gets getting louder, so... Find the red things. Ventilation maybe still stuffy. A wanted poster. Where could our little red demon be now? My little red demon can't possibly be this cute. Some kind of machinery? It's not over there. Loop-de-dee-loop-de-dee-loop. Where will you loop with me? Anacorp. Anacorp? What's this? Did I see something walk by? I'm not imagining it. There's something walking by. That's 3, and now there's a face forming. Very clearly over my screen at the moment. Now another one. Music getting louder, image becoming clearer, blurrier, shadowy figures. There he is again. Appease the red demon child. Where art thou, my lord? The one. Huh. Interesting. When you awaken from a deep sleep to something moving or stirring, it can take a few moments for you to truly understand what is happening. The fog of sleep hangs over your eyes and ears, even when lucid. Something was moving. There was no doubt about that. At first, I wasn't sure what it was. Everything was dark, almost pitch black, but there was enough light creeping in from outside to outline that room. 2 thoughts appeared in my mind almost simultaneously. The first was that my parents were in bed because the rest of the house lay both in darkness and silence. The second thought turned to the noise, a noise which had obviously woken me. That was it. Bed sheets rustling in the dark, and someone breathing. As if some disturbed sleeper was attempting to get all too comfortable in the bottom bunk. I lay there in disbelief, thinking that the noise was either my imagination, or perhaps just my pet cat finding somewhere comfortable to spend the night. Wait a second. Is this based off a Creepypasta story? Because this dialogue right here, I swear to God I've read it before. Like, I swear to God I've read this before, and I think it was a Creepypasta story. Let me continue and see if this is going where I think it's going. It was then that I noticed my door was shut as it had been as I'd fallen asleep. Perhaps my mom had checked in on me and The cat sneaked into my room then. Yes, that must have been it. I turned to face the wall, closing my eyes in the vain hope that I could fall back to sleep. As I moved, the rustling noise from underneath me ceased. I thought that I must have disturbed my cat. The dream sequences are not from the Creepypasta story, but what's being written right here, I swear to God, at least in my memory, seems word for word to what I recall reading a Creepypasta story. The dreams are new. This part isn't, though. But quickly I realized that my visitor in the bottom bunk was much less mundane than my pet trying to sleep, and much more sinister. As if alerted to and disgruntled by my presence, the disturbed sleeper began to toss and turn violently, like a child having a tantrum in their bed. I could hear the sheets twist and turn with increasing ferocity. Fear then gripped me, not like the subtle sense of unease I'd experienced earlier, but now potent and terrifying. My heart raced as my eyes panicked, scanning the almost impenetrable. I can't fucking talk right now. And I don't know why I can't say that at this point in time. Darkness, I let out a cry. As most young boys do, I instinctively shouted on my mother. I could hear something stir on the other side of the house, but as I began to breathe a sigh of relief that my parents were coming to save me, the bunk bed suddenly started to shake violently, as if gripped by an earthquake, scraping against the wall. I could hear the sheets below me thrashing around as if tormented by malice. I did not want to jump down to safety as I feared the thing in the bottom bunk would reach out and grab me, pulling me into the darkness, so I stayed there, white knuckles clenching my own blanket, like a shroud of protection. The wait seemed like an eternity. What's wrong? Did you have a bad dream? I cried and my mother consoled me. Tears of fear, followed by relief, streamed down my face. Yet, through all of the horror and relief, I did not tell her why I was so upset. I cannot explain it, but it was as though whatever... Let me test something here. Someone linked to something in the chat. I'm pretty sure it might be the Creepypasta story I'm thinking of. I just want to check something right here. So I've got a lot of tabs open. Hello, bedtime. I cannot explain it, but it was as though whatever had been in the bunk would return if I ever so much as spoke of it. I cannot explain it, but it was as though whatever had been in that bunk would return if I even so much as spoke of it. Deja vu. Anyways, though, continuing. Whether that was the truth, I do not know, but as a child felt as if that unseen menace remained close, listening. But it was as though whatever had been in the bunk, okay, if I ever said it. Whether that was the truth, I do not know, but as a child I felt as if the unseen menace remained close listening. Yep, it's the exact same story. I have read this before. Anyways, though, which means I know how this game is going to end if it continues. But those dream sequences weren't part of that story. So, It wasn't called It Moves. My mother lay in the empty bunk, promising to stay there until morning. I remember the next day wanting to go anywhere, be anywhere, but in that suffocating room. He's outside the next day, and the creature's watching him from the window. It was a Saturday, and I played outside quite happily with my friends. Though our house was not large, we were lucky to have a lawn, sloping garden in the back. Don't judge creepypastas so quickly. Most of them are pretty terrible, but a few of them are pretty interesting. This one was pretty okay. It's mainly like a quick bedtime horror story thing, in my opinion. I recognized what I was reading. I was like, I think I've read this before. And then how he's going to look inside the window. He's not going to see anything, but he's going to get a bad feeling. We played there often, as much of it was overgrown, and we could hide in the bushes, climbing the huge sycamore trees which towered above all else, and easily imagine ourselves in the throes of a grand adventure. This part I don't recall, though. The sycamore trees makes me think of fucking Twin Peaks because of that song about the sycamore trees. It's called Sycamore Trees. As fun as it all was, occasionally my eye would turn to that small window in my room, ordinary, slight, and innocent. But for me, that thin boundary was a looking glass into a strange cold pocket of dread. Outside the lush green surroundings of our garden, I just skipped down next, inside the feeling of something in that room, watching me play, waiting for the night when I would be alone, eagerly filled with hate. It may sound strange to you, but by the time my parents ushered me back into that room for the night, I said nothing. I didn't protest. I didn't even make an excuse as to why I couldn't sleep there. I still felt that this thing would be enraged if I so much as spoke of it. Another night came. Chapter 3, Factorized. Well, these dream sequences aren't part of the original story, so I don't know how they're factoring into the original story here. Save? Yes. The door is firmly shut. A huge skull. You don't say. To the next. Ah, yeah, repeating door or repeating room thing. A huge skull. Info there. Now it's going with red eyes a little bit. A huge skull. The door is firmly shut. A huge skull. You don't say. A banner on a lawn pole. It's too old and torn to make out details. A banner on a lawn pole. It's too dark and torn to make out details. It's like making a cult symbol. A huge skull. Flashing more. Oh. And the skull gets upset. The audio trails off, and now we are in Silent Hill-ish area again. Some kind of altar. Just visually, I'm just talking aesthetically here. A picture of some kind of green landscape. The picture is in too bad shape to make out any details. Door is locked indeed. How about this way? Okay, open that. A large fan circulating the stuffy air. Looks like something used to pour out of these. Maybe. Large fan, locked area. 2 locked areas, in fact. Excuse me, dear sir, I'm just exploring. Looks almost like the lights on the runway at airports. Not a bad comparison there. I'm just investigating. There's another locked area. I couldn't rightfully tell you exactly where I'm trying to head towards. All I know is that I'm exploring some kind of machine. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I'm looking around. Looks like something used to pour out of these. Maybe. That's blocked. There's a pathway down or back here. I went by here earlier. Right. That means... what other ways do I have to go? Up this way? Maybe? It's a good question. Maybe this side on this machine. Here's a hole or no large fan circling stuffy air. Locked area. It's so dark, it's hard to tell what exactly you're looking at. Huh. I can't for the life of me figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. I guess wander around a little bit more until I figure out where's some pathway I must have missed somewhere. Where's this pathway lead to? Something needs to pour out of these, so we claim. Some kind of machine, but can't do anything with that kind of machine apparently. Here's something. Finally found something. So that probably opened up something else somewhere. So let's see which one of these doors that I've been passing a bajillion times is opened up because of this. It's not that pathway over there. So basically I need to find the first thing to open up, and I need to find the other things that have opened up because I opened up something. This is gonna take some time. It'll get easier when we have less of them to investigate though, I suspect. It's not that one. Here we go. Found it. This is opened up. Ask was it? Something is written on the ground. I can't. How are you? That's what it says. Pull another switch. It's not the one down there at the very least. Probably on the other side of the level, I'm guessing. Make sure it's not the one down here. It's not the one down here. Things to see indeed. Things to see indeed. Here we go, the second one that's opened up. A creepy mask. The creepy mask is gone. That was... oh wait, it's right here. A creepy mask. Should be a pathway over here so I can see if it's the top area. Yes, it is. Now it's pouring blood. There's red liquid pouring out. So we're making changes to this area as we continue our way to open stuff. Is it the pathway over here? Is the pathway over here? It's blocked off by a bunch of bodies. That would think that should goes the right way. Well, it started pulsating and living by itself, that good old mound of flesh, so it's not this door yet, so it has to be another one that has been previously locked. Where else was there a commonly locked door? Wait, there's a few more over here. I think I have an idea. Looks almost like the lights that run away to airports. That's kick the fans in. It's circulating the stuffy air. Probably down here now, right? Yep. It's got a satanic symbol, or whatever symbol you want to believe that is, because it always has a lot of different meanings. Not sure what that changed. Oh. Close the door into the altar to us. The altar now has got this big thing on it. You can't pass by it. It's funny how certain words can remain hidden from your mind no matter how blatant or obvious they are. One word came to me that night, lying there in the darkness alone, frightened, aware of a rotten change in the atmosphere. A thickening of the air as if something had displaced it. As I heard the first casual twist of the bed sheets below, the first anxious increase of my heartbeat at the realization that something was once again in the bottom bunk, that word. A word which had been sent into exile, filtered up through my consciousness. Breaking free of all repression, gasping for air, screaming, etching, and carving itself into my mind. Ghost. As this thought came to me, I noticed that my unwelcome visitor had ceased moving. The bedsheets lay calm and dormant, but they had been replaced by something far more hideous. A slow, rhythmic, rasping breath heaved and escaped from the thing below. I could imagine its chest rising and falling with each sound, wheezing and garbled breath. I shuddered and hoped beyond all hope that it would leave without occurrence. The house lay as it had the previous night in a thick blanket of darkness. Silence prevailed all, but for the perverted breath of my as yet unseen bunkmate, I lay there, terrified. I just wanted this thing to go, to leave me alone. What did it want? And something unmistakably chilling transpired. Then, it moved. It moved in a way different from before. When it threw itself around in the bottom bunk, it seemed unrestrained, without purpose, almost animalistic. For that thing lying there in the darkness, that thing which seemed intent on terrorizing a young boy, calmly and nonchalantly sat up. Its labored breathing had become louder. Now, only a mattress and a few flimsy wooden slats separated my body from the unearthly breath below. I lay there, my eyes filled with tears, a fear which mere words cannot relate to you or anyone else coursed through my veins. I would not have believed that the fear could have been heightened, but I was so wrong. I imagined what this thing would look like, sitting there, listening from below my mattress, hoping to catch the slightest hint that I was awake. Imagination then turned to an unnerving reality. It began to touch the wooden slats which my mattress sat on. It seemed to caress them carefully, running what I imagined to be fingers and hands across the surface of the wood. Then with great force, it prodded angrily between two slats into the mattress. Even through the padding, it felt as though someone had viciously stuck their fingers into my side. I let out a mighty cry, and the wheezing, shaking, and moving thing in the bunk below replied in kind by violently vibrating the bunk as it had done the night before. Small flakes of paint powdered onto my blanket from the wall as the frame of the bed scrapped along it, backwards and forwards. Once again, I was bathed in light, and there stood my mother, loving, caring as she always was. With a comforting hug and the common words was eventually subdued my hysteria. Of course, she asked what was wrong, but I could not say, I dared not say. I simply said one word over and over again. Nightmare. This pattern of events continued for weeks, if not months. Night after night, I would awaken to the sound of rustling sheets. Each time I would scream so as to not provide this abomination with time to prob and feel for me. With each cry, the bed would shake violently, stopping with the arrival of my mother, who would spend the rest of the night in the bottom bunk, seemingly unaware of the sinister force torturing her son nightly. Along the way, I managed to find illness a few times and come up with other less than truthful reasons for sleeping in my parents' bed. But more often than not, I would be alone for the first few hours of each night in that place. The room with the light from outside did not sit right, alone with that thing. With time, you can become desensitized to almost anything, no matter how horrific. I had come to realize that, for whatever reason, this thing could not harm me when my mother was present. I am sure the same would have been said for my father, but as loving as he was, waking him from sleep was almost impossible. Waking me, on the other hand, was no trouble at all, thanks to the nightmares. Chapter 4: Anger Overload. Save. Yes. 4. Now it's like an old house. The painted glass depicts some religious man, I guess. Odd thoughts for a child. A hook hangs from the wall. piece of meat hangs to dry from it. Earthquake? Painted glass depicts a religious man, I guess. This door's open. I like the little light effect they had going on there. The painted glass depicts a scene from the Bible. Okay. Not quite as chapley through here. There's a door here, which I didn't realize. Jesus, I don't even know where I'm going at this point. Various jars with disgusting stuff inside. Oh my. Oh. Another one. This is where I came from. There's a human man spider over there. Don't neglect that. Various jars with disgusting stuff inside. It's a big pool, but I'd rather not use it. It's a big pool, but I think you rather would. Big ol' haunted room here. Looks like a map. Let's try to get full. The picture depicts a couple of men standing in front of a car. That what happened in that last stream? What? The spider that lives in the net is nowhere to be seen. Goes through here to the underground. Nothing about that blood thing there. Let's go downstairs then. I just realized there's hanged dog things here. Cats or dogs, something like that, but they're all being hanged. There's obviously something like a door there. When or how it'll open is to be seen. There's drag marks and a thing that look like markings on the wall for it to be opened. Oh. That's unfortunate. Let's try and say something human Nikish, but I can roll with it. I shows that the sound was them all opening and closing their mouths. So they close their mouths when I pass by. Then you go back after a certain point, something will happen. Well, I'm testing for certain. Nothing yet. Maybe I have to set them all off before I go backwards. Time to find out. Doesn't seem to have set off anything. I guess I'll just continue forward and see what forward brings. Simply put. They're no longer doing the mouth thing. The noise is getting louder. For effect. Giggle, giggle. Cry, cry. Are they moving closer? Or... Huh. Hello, elderly men babies. I'm going the okay. Well, alas, I was killed by men babies. Bye, cruel world. Stack. I can roll with that, though. My greatest fears were realized in the winter. The days grew short, and the longer nights merely provided this wretch with more opportunities. It was a difficult time for my family. My grandmother, a wonderfully kind and gentle woman, had deteriorated greatly since the death of my grandfather. My mother was trying her best to keep her in the community as long as possible. However, dementia is a cruel and degenerative illness, robbing a person of their memories one day at a time. As soon as she recognized none of us, and it became clear that she would need to be moved from her house to a nursing home. Before she could be moved, my grandmother had a particularly difficult few nights, and my mother decided that she would stay with her. As much as I loved my grandmother and felt nothing but anguish at her illness, to this day I feel guilty that my first thoughts were not of her, but of what my nightly visitor may do. It became aware of my mother's absence. Oh dear. Her presence being the one thing which I was sure was protecting me from the full horror of this thing's reach. I rushed home from school that day and immediately wrenched the bed sheets and mattress from the lower bunk, removing all of the slats and placing an old desk, a chest of drawers, and some chairs which we kept in the cupboard where the bottom bunk used to be. I told my father I was making an office, which he found adorable. But I would be damned if I'd give that thing a place to sleep for one more night. As darkness approached, I lay there knowing my mother was not in the house. I did not know what to do. My only impulse was to sneak into her jewelry box and take a small family crucifix, which I had seen there before. While my family were not very religious, at that age I was still believed in God and hoped that somehow this would protect me. Although fearful and anxious, while gripping the crucifix under my pillow tightly in one hand, sleep eventually came, and I drifted off to dream. I hoped that I would awaken in the morning without incidents. Unfortunately, that night was the most terrifying of all. Chapter 5, Urban Explorer. Save? I always do, don't I? We'll go to save file 5. It says wolf. That is quite the illustration you got there. Stacks of notebooks. A poster for a play. A bunch of school books. Huh. Outward then. The feeling that something's invading your privacy, even without ill will, is still disturbing. I was wondering how they're going to handle this night. I think I've seen that monster before in another one of this person's games. I was wondering how they might handle it, because the story, the last night, is the longest, obviously. And I was wondering how they're going to split it. A bunch of school books. Good. You are good. The clock has stopped. I'm told that I am good. Do I feel like I'm good? I'll leave it up to you guys. Even if you don't know what they are here, you hold the greatest amount of fear for them. It's a Triceratops. A bunch of school books. A stack of comic books. It's a Triceratops. An old picture of what seems to be a religious man and woman. Oh boy. The sounds of screams are awful. They are even worse when they are your own. A mattress, dirty and worn out. There's a piece of paper here. It reads, knock, knock. little bit too immediate of an effect for it to have that much effect. Can't do much more there. Haha. Can I go outside easily? A writing desk with some school material on it. A big filing cabinet. Various books that look like they would be hard to read. Writing desk with some school material. A writing desk with some school material. That's a lot of writing desks with school materials. Various books look like they'll be able to read. Okay. Out. Locked. Let's go downstairs then. Monster continues. The lock on this door is broken. I don't think I can get in here. That one's blocked off by a hole. It's all blocked off by a hole, actually. There are various school rules printed here. Huh. Well, it's bizarre, I'll give you that. Are we men or are we sheep? Let's see what's over here, if anything. Out. Before I get stuck in fucking sheep hell or something. There's a hole in the wall where roots have grown. It's gone now. Okay, that's gone down. Outside. A busted little machine of some sorts. I didn't realize that was a hole. I was just investigating. Plants grow through cracks in the floor. And now let's go down. So I have to waste time, obviously. More to see. Lights. Maze. Action. One of those looping sequences, I think. Let's go this way. This way. I've been here before. Okay, geez. How do I solve this? The light bulbs must be a clue. Oh, no, it wouldn't be a clue because they keep looping me. Well, here the... Oh, actually, I think I found something different. I did find something different. Where, oh, where could this pathway be taking me? Oh, where could it be? With my ears tied shut and my tail tied on. Oh, where could I be? Things to check out still regardless. The pathway has changed again. They both lead to the same thing though. Hello, my favorite celebrating pig people. Happy we've all gathered here today to celebrate pigdom. I'm standing on top of this, laying down. Good night, everybody. Can't say I've ever been part of a pigman ritual, but a little bit crazy. A memory reflects here. You're awfully quiet nowadays. Is there something wrong, son? Nothing. Are you sure? Is there something wrong with your new room? Are you lonely without your brother? No. All right then. I woke gradually. The room was once again dark. As my eyes adjusted, I could gradually make out the window and the door and the walls, some toys on a shelf, and even to this day I shudder to think of it, for there was no noise. No rustling of sheets, no movement at all. The room felt lifeless, lifeless yet not empty. The nightly visitor, the unwelcoming, wheezing, hate-filled thing which had terrorized me night after night, was not in the bottom bunk. It was in my bed. I opened my mouth to scream, but nothing came out. Utter terror had shaken the very sound from my voice. I lay motionless. If I could not scream, I did not want to let it know I was awake. I was obscured under my blanket. I could see its outline, I could feel its presence, but I dare not look. You guys are spamming the meow bot a little bit too much.